Hello everyone, welcome to Maths and Science Intervention Club. Today we're going to be learning about sequence and series. So the main focus will be on arithmetic sequence. We are also going to learn about determining the general term of an arithmetic sequence and how to find the sum of the nth term when we are dealing with an arithmetic sequence. So now let's say we are given an arithmetic sequence whereby it goes as 2, 5, 8, 11 up until 140, 143. So now 2, it is represented as A, whereby it is the first term. This 143, it is represented as L, as the last term. So now 5 will act as the second term, 8 will be the third term, and 4 will be the fourth term. But then A, it is the first term, which is 2. L, it is the last term, which is 143. So now when we are required to determine the general term of an arithmetic sequence, the first thing that we do, we have to establish the difference, the common difference, right? So since we have 2, 5, 8, 11, we are going to establish the difference. What is the difference between the first term and the second term? What is the difference between the second term and the third term? Just like that. So now if we have 2, 5, 8, 11, I can establish my difference, right? So the difference is going to be T2 minus T1. If I want to find the difference between the first term and the second term, it means I will say the second term minus the first term, right? So it's going to be T2 minus T1, which is also the same as me saying T3 minus T2. So now if I say T2 minus T1, it is me saying 5 minus 2, which is going to give me 3. If I say T3 minus T2, it's me saying 8 minus 5, which is the same as 3. So the common difference here, it is 3. So now with an arithmetic sequence, the difference, it is the same throughout. So the difference between two consecutive terms, it is the same throughout. So 5 minus 2, 8 minus 5, 11 minus 8, just like that. So D, it is what? It is 3, which is the common difference between all my terms. A, it is what? It is 2, because it is the first term in my arithmetic sequence. So now if I'm looking for the general term, if the question with the general term, I can also find the next number here, and I can also find the 100th term in my sequence. So that is the use of my general term. So now when I'm looking for the general term of an arithmetic sequence, I'm going to say Tn, it is equals to A plus n minus 1 multiplied by the difference. So now Tn, it is the general term, which is given as A. What is the first term in my arithmetic sequence? It is 2 plus n minus 1. What is the difference between my two consecutive terms in my arithmetic sequence? It is 3. So now I'm going to have Tn, it is equals to 2 plus this 3 here, it is going to be distributed here on my n and also here on my negative 1, the law of distribution. So I'll have 3 multiplied by n, which is 3n, and I'll also have 3 multiplied by negative 1, which is going to be negative 3. So now here I'm going to have Tn, it is equals to these 2 and this negative 3 are like terms. So I'll start with 3n, I'll have 3n, then 2 minus 3 is going to be negative 1. So now I can confirm, right? If I substitute 1 here on my n here, am I going to get the first term, which is 2? So it's going to be 3 multiplied by 1, which is 3 minus 1, giving us 2. If I'm looking for the second term, I'll substitute 2 here on my n. So it's going to be 3 multiplied by 2, which is 6 minus 1, which gives us 5. If I'm looking for the third term, I'll substitute 3 here. So I'll have 3 multiplied by 3, which is 9 minus 1, giving us 8. So now I can see that this particular general term works for my given sequence, right? So now if the question says this 143 here, I can see that this particular 2, it is the first term, term number 1. This particular 5, it is the what? The second term, term number 2. This 8, it is the third term, term number 3. This 11, it is the fourth term, term number 4. But the question is, this 143, it is term number what? So now, given the sequence here, I know that I'm looking for the position of my 143. It is term number what? So I'm going to say 143, it is equals to 3n minus 1. So I'll have 143, this negative 1 here, it is what? It is negative. But then I am going to transpose it to the following, to the next, so to the other side. So I'll have plus 1, it is equals to 3n. So I'll have 144, it is equals to 3n. So I'm looking for what? For n. I'll divide by 3, divide by 3 both sides. So I'll have this 3 into 3 goes once. So I'll have n. Therefore I'll say 144 divided by 3. 144 divided by 3, which gives me 48. Therefore 143, it is the 48th term in my arithmetic sequence. Now we have what is called Sn, the sum of my terms. So now, given this particular arithmetic sequence here, let me just write it down again. I have what? I have 2, I have 5, I have 8, I have 11, up until 143. So Sn, it is the same as what? 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 up until 143. What value am I going to get if I add all of my terms in my arithmetic sequence? So 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 up until I add up until 143. What value am I going to get? So now the formula for Sn of an arithmetic sequence, it is given as Sn, it is equals to n over 2. Then I have a plus the last term. Right, a plus the last term. Or it is given as Sn, it is equals to n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by the difference here. So if I'm looking for the sum of all my terms in my arithmetic sequence, I'm going to say, since I know that this particular term, I know how many terms I'm going to add, because it means I'll add the first term, second term, third term, the fourth term, up until the 48th term. It means I know the number of terms that I'm supposed to add. Therefore, it's going to be 48 over 2. Then I'll have 2. What is the first term? 2 plus the number of terms that I'm supposed to add, which is 48 minus 1 multiplied by the difference, which is 3. Therefore, I'll have 48 all divided by 2, open bracket, 2 multiplied by 2 plus 48 minus 1 multiplied by 3. Therefore, it means I am going to get 3,480. It means, given my arithmetic sequence here, if I were to add 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 up until 143, then the sum of those terms, it was going to be 3,480. Right. So now, if I have another question which says, what is the sum of all numbers that are not divisible by 5? Sum of all numbers not divisible by 5 in my arithmetic sequence. So now my arithmetic sequence, it is what? It is 2, 5, 8, 11 up until 143. So now what is the sum of all numbers that are not divisible by 5? It means I'll have to add 2, I'll have to add 8, I'll have to add 11, I'll have to add 143. But then the numbers that are divisible by 5, which is this 5 as the first number, I am not supposed to add them. So now I have to establish all the numbers that lies within my sequence that are divisible by 5. It means I'll have 2. Let me just use my Tn here. I'll have 2. Let me have just 2. Then after 2 it's 5, 8, 11. After 11 I'll have 14. After 14, I'll have 17. After 17, I'll have 20. So it's going to be 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17. I'll have 20. So now after 20, what is the next number that is going to be divisible by 5? Here. So I'll have 35. So all numbers that are in my sequence that are divisible by 5, it is 5, it is 20, it is 35. So now it means I am supposed to add all numbers that are not divisible by 5. It means I'll have to add 2, 8, 11, 143, but then those that are divisible by 5, I am not supposed to add them. How am I going to get that? I am going to look for the general term also of the numbers that are divisible by 5. So now it means after doing that, I'll find the sum of every number, those that are divisible by 5 and those that are not divisible by 5. The sum of everything. I realize that it is 3,408. But then from 3,408, it means I have to subtract those that are divisible by 5, meaning it will give me those that are not divisible by 5. Therefore, how am I going to do that? I have to find the sum of the numbers that are divisible by 5, right? So it means, looking here, the last number it is 143, and the difference it is what? It is 3. It means the last number here that is going to be divisible by 5, it is going to be 140, because I'll have to subtract 3. It means the last number that is going to be divisible by 5, it is 140, right? So now I have 140 here. So now given my term here, it is going to be 5, 20, 35, up until 140 for those that are divisible by 5. Then it's going to be 2, 5, 8, 11, up until 143 for all numbers, those that are divisible by 5 and those that are not divisible by 5. It means I'll have to add all the numbers here. Then I subtract those that are divisible by 5. It means I'll be left with those that are not divisible by 5. So now since I have found that the sum of all numbers, whether divisible by 5 or not divisible by 5, it is 3,480. But then now I have to find the sum of the numbers that are divisible by 5. It means I'm going to say Sn, it is equals to n over 2, n plus a plus l, whereby a it is the first term for those that are divisible by 5, whereby l it is the last term for those that are divisible by 5. So I'll have Sn, it is equals to the number of terms. The question is, how many terms are here that I'm supposed to add for those that are divisible by 5? So it means I have to find the position of my 140. So now I'm going to say 140, it is term number what for those that are divisible by 5. So it means I'll firstly find the general term for the numbers that are divisible by 5. So I'll have, or I can also use this. I'll also say since I have here, I'll have 5. After 5 I have 20, after 20 I have 35, up until 140. What is the difference here? There is 15. What is the difference there? There is 15. It means I have a common difference which is 15. So I can find the general term for those that are divisible by 5. So it means Tn is going to be a plus n minus 1 multiplied by the difference. Therefore a it is 5 plus n minus 1. What is the difference? 15. So I'll have 5 plus 15n minus 15. So I'll start with 15n. So I'll have 15n. What is 5 minus 15? I'll have minus 10. Therefore, this is the general term for the numbers that are divisible by 5 in my given sequence. So I'm going to ask myself, 140, it is term number what here? Therefore, I'll say 140, it is equals to 15n minus 10. So I'll have 140 plus 10, it is equals to 15n. So I'll have 150, it is equals to 15n divided by 15. Therefore n it is equals to 10. It means 140, it is the 10th term in my numbers that are divisible by 5. So if I'm looking for the sum of those that are divisible by 5, I'll say Sn, it is equals to n over 2, then I'll have 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by the difference here. So it means I'm going to find that since 1/4 it is the 10th term for the numbers that are divisible by 5. So I'll have 10 over 2. 2, what is the first term? It is 5 plus 10 minus 1 multiplied by difference, which is 15. Therefore, what sum does it give me for those that are divisible by 5? So I'll have to say 10 all over 2 multiplied by 2 times 5 plus open bracket 10 minus 1 multiplied by 15. So the sum for those that are divisible by 5, it is 725. So it means if I'm looking for the sum for those that are not divisible by 5, I'll have to add everything, whereby it gave me 3,480 minus those that are divisible by 5, which is 725. Therefore, it will give me the sum of all the numbers that are not divisible by 5. So I'll have 3,480 minus 725, which is going to give me 2,755. It means the sum of all numbers that are not divisible by 5, it is 2,755. Thank you so much. I hope we have achieved the lesson focus, whereby we were supposed to deal with an arithmetic sequence, determining the general term of an arithmetic sequence, determining the sum of the nth term in my arithmetic sequence. And we also dealt with, if we are given an arithmetic sequence and the question says determine the sum of the numbers that are even, determine the sum of the numbers that are not divisible by 5, it means you are going to add all the numbers in your arithmetic sequence. Then you find the sum of all numbers that are divisible by 5. Then you say the sum of everything minus the sum of those that are divisible by 5. It will give you the sum of all that are not divisible by 5, or whatever given value that they want you to focus on. Thank you so much.